Please come to order. Good morning. Welcome to the Commissioner of St. Mary's County meeting this date, Tuesday, July 12, 2022. I am Randy Guy, President Commissioner of St. Mary's County. I'd like to introduce the other commissioners. Sitting to my right, representing the 1st Commissioner District, which includes Ridge, Piney Point, St. George Island, Mr. Eric Colvin.
Good morning.
Representing the 2nd Commissioner District, which includes Leonardtown, Hollywood, Mr. Mike Hewitt.
Good morning.
Sitting to my left, representing the 3rd Commissioner District, which includes Charlotte Hall, 7th District, Golden Beach, and Mechanicsville, Mr. John O'Connor.
Morning.
Representing the 4th Commissioner District, which includes Lexington Park, some of California, Great Mills, and some of Hollywood, Mr. Todd Morgan. David Weiskopf, Interim County Administrator, is sitting at the table to my left.
Morning.
Lisa Cassis, our Communications Director, is sitting at the table to my right.
Good morning.
Amy Carter, our Video Media Producer, behind the glass. Please turn your cell phones off or on vibrate. When you come to the presenter's table, please approach by coming down the center aisle. And remember, this meeting is being televised, so you need to speak clearly and directly into the microphone for recording purposes. At this time, we have invocation and pledge by Commissioner Morgan. Please stand.
I wish to start this morning from a quote from Matthew, 12th chapter, 25th verse. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Lord, teach us through your words to respect to one another, to show your grace and compassion. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Next, I need approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Our first and second, all in favor? Aye. Any noes? Ayes have it. We next have a proclamation, National Parks and Recreation Month. Who's got that?
Mr. Morgan.
Okay, Mr. Morgan's got it.
I got
Okay. Most of you Park and Rec people, please show up. All right, look at this.
You be on the end, buddy.
Oh, you need that for my interim. Morning, everyone. We're happy here to have our proclamation for National Parks and Recreation Month. We have our interim, Arthur Shepard, and his team, permanent, standing beside us right now. Got it? Good. Okay. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of the communities throughout this country, including St. Mary's County, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Recreations and Parks promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. Whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote activities and healthy lifestyles. Whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities, such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education, are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure that the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of St. Mary's County, do proclaim this month of July 2022 National Parks and Recreation Month in St. Mary's County and invite all citizens to visit their local parks and recreational facilities and discover what they have to offer this date, July 12th, 2022.
You know, this staff here is proud and delighted with what is read about here in our proclamation. But just give me 1 minute. I'm going to highlight some of the things that's happened in the last year since we were together with this proclamation. Just this past weekend, our Jazz Festival is reignited, and what a crowd we had at Leonardtown on Friday night. But it rained out on Saturday, but you can see the great promise as we moved out of the COVID period. And our summer stock, 36 years in a row, will be back this summer, full speed with distancing as well as 2 different weekends. We engaged in our land preservation and parks and recreation plan. Each 5 years you do that, and that came about our Snow Hill Master Plan, architect and engineering with St. Clements Island Museum, then the Scott Verbeck Memorial Golf Tournament. $185,000 25 years after its start. So that was a great highlight of ours. Then throughout the winter, we, besides our actual programming and things done there, we opened up a park, the Lexington Manor Passive Park, that we're proud of there, and the annual Cherry Blossom Festival. And then finally, our national accreditation this past June. So this group here, they are not interim. They have a lot to give. They're delighted to do it, and I couldn't be any prouder of it and celebrate this recognition with you and the commissioner. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Shepard. Anybody else want to talk besides Art? Okay.
They will.
Thank you all.
Oh, sorry, I forgot my job.
Okay, next we move right into County Administrator time. Mr. Weiskopf.
Thank you, Commissioner President Guy. First up are the draft agendas for July 26th and August 2nd. There will be no meetings of the commissioners on July 19th. July 26th, you'll start at your normal time and place. The invocation and pledge by Commissioner President Guy. 9:05 will be the Office of the County Attorney request for a public hearing regarding the transfer tax exemption. 9:20 County Administrator time, 11 o'clock County Commissioners time, 11:10 closed session for real property, have a recess. 1 p.m. will be the Department of Finance bond sale, adjourn, and then at 6:30 you'll have the Department of Land Use and Growth Management public hearing for the proposed cannabis ordinance. And on August 2nd at 9 a.m., you'll have a joint meeting of the Commissioners of St. Mary's County and the Commanding Officer, NAS Pax River, regarding encroachment mitigation and prevention meeting. Frank Knox Employee Development Center. At 10:30, you'll adjourn that meeting. And at 11 a.m., you'll have the invocation and pledge here by Commissioner Colvin. 11:05, you'll have 3 proclamations: National Aviation Day, National Black Business Month, and Child Support Awareness Month. 11:20 will be County Administrator time, followed by Commissioner time, and then you will adjourn. Thank you. And moving into today, the first thing on the agenda is from the Sheriff's Office for the fiscal year 2023 Cooperative Reimbursement Agreement application for child support. Ms. Lottie Bell and Captain Stephen Hall.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Weiskopf. This federal fiscal year 23 cooperative reimbursement agreement will reimburse a portion of the expenditures for 4.08 full-time employees, as well as a vehicle with upfitting, equipment, fuel, maintenance, telephone, and supply costs for the child support unit. This request is for $839,346, which includes $522,259 federal dollars and $317,087 county funds. This grant and the related positions are included in the fiscal year 23 approved budget. A budget amendment would be needed at the award stage to increase the grant funding and the county funding. And your approval of this application is requested.
It's another 66-34 deal where they pay 66 and we pay 34.
Correct.
I move to approve the FY 2023 Cooperative Reimbursement Agreement application for the Child Support Grant for the Maryland Department of Human Services for child support enforcement in the amount of $522,259 federal and $317,087 county funds, and authorize the Commissioner President and the Sheriff to execute and submit the related documents.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is, the next two items are from the Circuit Court. The first one is acceptance of Maryland Office of Problem Solving Courts Award for the Adult Recovery Court Program and Family Recovery Court. Administrative Judge Michael J. Stamm presenting.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Microphone, please.
Judge, could you pull the microphone to you, sir? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
You're like a Verizon commercial. So we have two grants here. The Family Service Grant I'll start with first. We were approved for approximately $176,000. Because of the good work of Claire and her folks involved in the program, they were able to get an actual award of $201,539. That's 100% funded by non-county sources. So that particular grant doesn't cost our local folks, outside of course state taxes, any additional funds from your budget. Magistrate Hill is the judicial officer involved with it, and it's right now we've been expanding it, and it looks like it's going to be very successful. So my request is that you accept that grant.
And just so the commissioners know, Judge Stamm has jumped the tracks, and we're talking about item D, not C.
He's a judge, he can do what he wants, right?
Which one? So we're on the
Docket around.
the Maryland Student Maid Office?
I can do anything I want. All right. Sorry, I just went to the one that was the easiest.
No, that's okay, that's okay.
So where are we on?
D. Item D.
I move to accept and approve the Family Services Court Grant Award from the Administrative Office of the Courts for the Circuit Court Family Services Program in the amount of $201,539.07, and authorize the Commissioner President to execute the related documents.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
So now I'll go to item C.
Got item C now. Yes, sir.
This is the Family Recovery and Adult Recovery Court Grant. It's a dual program. Magistrate Hill is involved with, again, the family recovery. Judge Stanalonis, who wanted to be here today but has a full docket and wasn't able to slip out, is running the Adult Recovery Court. Both programs are moving very, very well. The grant, and this one, the total grant is, let's see, looks like $511,805. We're requesting you to accept that grant with county funding, $186,211.
Am I seeing the 500?
I move to accept and approve the Adult Recovery Court Program and Family Recovery Court Award from the Maryland Office of Problem Solving Courts in the amount of $295,000, and authorize the Commissioner President to execute the related documents.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion.
I might have wrong math there, Mike.
Looks like the actual award amount is 481,211.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think my cheat sheet has the wrong number there.
All right, no, I'm not holding against you. But tell me, I see here the acceptance, Maryland Office of Problem Solving.
Right.
What problems are you guys solving?
That's what the whole idea of recovery court. It's an alternative court system. Now, we were one of the pioneers in it. Back in the early 2000s when we did juvenile drug court.
I remember that.
Which I know you all were involved in.
It's the one where the people go through that program and they have their graduation.
They do.
Yeah.
You've been to them. This is,
yeah,
what
that's
we do
good.
is we take individuals who've had a lot of contact. Now, talking about drug court first.
Yeah.
A lot of contact with the system, have issues with drug addiction, and as part of their probation or part of their sentence, they go to this program. Now, the program is a very long program. It lasts anywhere from 12 to 16 months. Not everyone graduates, but the recidivism rate on those who graduate is extremely, extremely low, which is very heartening.
Good.
So we do, and you've been to the graduations. In fact, you spoke at one of mine.
Well, I think what's been the most effective part of this court, if there's, is the effect on the spouses or the families or the loved ones or the friends, and just to have those people, they're just so glad to be out of that cycle of, they were in a bad spot.
Absolutely, and that's where the family recovery comes in, because family recovery is dealing almost like NA does and AA with the family also. So we're trying to bring the families together, give them a way to problem solve their issues out and not end up with convictions or end up with losing their children through termination of parental rights.
Yeah, and it's a great program. Thank you.
The guys involved in there are doing a fantastic job. Judge Stanalonis, Magistrate Hill, and their staffs are just fabulous.
Very good.
Mr. President, I'll amend my motion to cover the numbers that are listed here, which says in the amount of $481,211, $295,000 from the state with a match from the county for $186,211.
Accept this motion to amend.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a first and second on both. All those in favor? Aye. Nay, nays? Ayes have it.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
I can do someone else.
I'm sure Mr. Shepherd won't mind.
Thank you.
Department of Recreation and Parks, the Program Open Space Grant Award Project, RP 2303, Mr. Art Shepherd presenting with Ms. Bishop.
Commissioners, another strong opportunity with the program Open Space money, the Nicollet Park Playground. It has met its 20-year replacement cycle. That'll be a great addition to that park as that park is moving forward in a lot of strong ways. So I'm asking you this morning to authorize the program Open Space funding the amount of $270,000 in the FY23 budget.
Tell me, do we have any other plans to Nicollet Park? I'm glad to see this is happening, but do we have any other plans for the park?
Programmatically, not really. Well, no, really, that's the strong one. But we're looking maybe in FY24 for some improvements for the skate park, or we might be able to utilize that some of the new money that I'll be coming to you in a couple of months that the governor has given us. Number two is there's a volunteer group at Nicollet Park that is looking and working with me about starting a nonprofit so that they can raise funds and do other things and enhance there. They've already started beginner skate there with staff and as a volunteer group. So the synergy is coming to Nicollet Park.
Good.
I went there one time, at least once, and there a bunch of people were playing basketball. I think it was,
That's the NBA.
what's that?
On Thursdays and Sunday, NBA.
Yeah.
That's a great program.
I was invited
Great
over there by Tyrone. I was very impressed with the term, the organization, they seem to have it real figured
They
out.
did. Mr. John Duckett, he's responsible for
Duckett,
that,
yeah.
and very successful.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I think we need to encourage.
Will this updated playground be fully accessible?
Of course.
Got any exciting plans for it, Christy?
Actually, a lot of it is going to be very different than what you have there now. Trying to keep it so you can see all the way through the playground. Not a lot of hiding spots in that area, but it will be beautiful as the rest of them.
Excellent.
Good.
All right. I move to approve the state FY 2022 Program Open Space Grant Award for the Nicollet Park Playground Replacement Project and authorize the Commissioner President to sign all related documents.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up is from the Department of Information Technology. Accept the MOU for the Neighborhood Connect broadband funding, US 2324. Director Bob Kelly presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Weiskopf. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So this is the fourth year that we've received a grant from the state. This is the highest grant award that we have ever received. We actually submitted 5 applications. The commissioners approved that submission back in December, and we received notice of award last month on the 25th of, actually it was 25th of May. Received the paperwork last week, so I want to thank the Finance Department for moving quickly, letting us process and getting me before you to accept that grant. This grant is for a total, when you consider the county match and the match for the ISP, it's for a total of $2,361,480. That'll go for middle mile projects. At the end of this, at the end of all 5 applications, once we complete all 5 of those projects, we'll have connected 43 roads, almost 200 homes, and asking you to consider accepting this grant so we can get busy. We have until December of 2023 to complete all this work. The first 3 years that we received the grant, we actually completed the work within a year, but this is significantly a larger undertaking. So as soon as we get the grant, if you accept the grant, as soon as we get it, we'll start working and start processing.
I got some questions under discussion.
Certainly.
I move to approve the MOU for the Neighborhood Connect Broadband Funding Program, and the budget amendment increasing the appropriation reserve and decreasing the information technology operating budget, and authorize the Commissioner President to sign all related documents.
Second. Discussion.
Yeah. I'm glad to see Far Cry Road on here. There were some people who had reached out, constituents reached out, caught me at Harris Teeter of all places. You know, it's good to be in there and shopping and have a discussion about broadband. And the point was, is that, you know, they were really looking forward to it. And this discussion probably took place, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. And I saw them recently, and they were really dejected because they said, oh, man, it's not going to happen. And I said, well, you know, maybe it is. So they said they mentioned this grant and that we were waiting for a grant. So how long, okay, this is July of 22. Mm-hmm. They were talking about 25 or 2025, 2026. Are they, what are they thinking, 23, 2023, 22, when?
So this is a state grant which is utilizing federal funds. So the agreement, this agreement that that you're considering is in accordance with the state portion of the grant. So the state takes the federal funds and then they put their restrictions on. So we need to complete all 5 of these projects, all 43 roads, by December 2023.
Okay, so 18 months.
Yes, sir.
They should be hooked up.
Yes, sir.
Or at least be in their neighborhood. Okay.
Sir.
Now, you said 240-some homes or whatever you just said there.
Just about 200 homes, yes.
Yeah. Point is that getting us towards like 100%? Because we were over 90. Well, how close are we getting to? Yeah.
A loaded question. I'm not trying to be evasive. So you have actual homes that we've completed, and then you have homes like this that we know we're going to complete. So so when I report and I give a percentage, it's completed, which means they're connected and the vendor has been paid their construction, which sometimes the payment, the true up, if you will, and the payment may take 4-5 months, really. So at this point in St. Mary's County, we're at over 96% of our addressed homes in St. Mary's County have access to wired broadband.
Great. Last question. People have told me that they have, you know, they've called, they're on the list, they have a contractor or have somebody come out and runs a cable to their house, and there that cable sits for several months, and they're trying to figure out, well, what happened? How come somebody didn't come and hook the house up? Is there a disconnect between the contractor doing the work and the cable company actually hooking the house up, or why can't the contractor actually hook the house up when they do that work?
Again, another loaded question and a very good question, Commissioner. We have different crews. There's different crews going out doing different portions of the connectivity. And so you may have, and we strategically fund projects either through middle mile or last mile. And last mile is generally that one home, that one address, down their driveway, and getting that connection to the home that you're talking about. But even in the last mile project, a particular address, it may take some additional infrastructure backhaul to make the connection. And so that's a different crew. And so for example, when we're talking middle mile projects, generally there's a crew that will come out, they'll do the walkout and they'll do the assessment and the equipment list, assemble the equipment list. And then the next crew that comes out, they may be installing the conduit. The third crew that comes out may be putting the fiber or the cable in the conduit. The fourth crew may be the crew that goes
There's
from,
multiple
yes,
steps to
right.
the program. Okay, I'll tell them that.
All right. Correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding, the projects covered under this grant here will complete our middle mile projects.
Yes and no. And so as of December, we had a list of middle mile projects.
I understand it's a moving target, too,
That's the
as new
challenge. That's
houses
the
get
challenge.
built or.
So as of December, when we submitted this application, I presented it before the commissioners, and you allowed us to submit the application. That was all 43 roads that we had on the middle mile. And then what we did, and if you remember, I kind of, I won't say that I slipped in, but I said what we were going to do is hold off on the ARP funding, 2022 middle mile funding, until we receive this. Right? So then we knew we're going to use this money first because this match is 70% state or 80% or 90% state funding, depending upon each of these applications. And so since December, I've looked at and I've found other middle mile projects where I can hit multiple homes down a road. It's less expensive. For example, just this weekend, Trapp Road, I had a request for Trapp Way, down in your area. And I had 3 folks that had requested service down there as a last mile, and the 4th one came in, and then I realized, oh, there's 4 homes here. So instead of spending $42,000 in last mile funding, I can spend $26,000 and do all 4. And so that's what we're trying to do. So as I find those, and we're looking constantly, I'm looking at the maps and trying to figure these out, and our vendors are coming back and recommending. So as of December, this was our entire middle mile list. With this, as soon as we got the notice to award, though, since December, there were several other middle mile projects that came up, and what I did is I've taken the ARP funding from 2022 middle mile, and I've applied those. So there's six more addresses that are actually near completion right now. To kind of fill the gap until we get this funding.
I very much appreciate the creative use of funding because it's a puzzle and you're trying to make it fit as best as possible. So just to go off what you were just saying, does 4 homes move it up to middle mile versus last mile?
Honestly, it depends upon the cost. And so I have the vendors, I have them price it either, it could be 3 homes, it could be 2 homes, but if it's 2 homes, that's $20,000 individually, but it's $12,000 as a middle mile, then we move it to middle mile. From the direction from the board years ago, connect as many people as you can, as quickly and as efficiently as you can, and that's what we're trying to do.
Right.
So if I can save money and be able to do more homes, then that's what we're doing. There's a request that we're working. I think when Ms. Cudmore comes before you next month with the report to the federals for the American Rescue Plan, I'll be requesting some moving of some funds from middle mile to last mile, and maybe from some security to last mile. And it's just, again, it's just trying to leverage this. $2,300,000 is a game changer, and we're going to leverage that as much as we possibly can.
So, last question. We keep seeing headlines, federal, state, more and more money's being pushed to broadband. You got your eyes on any other big pots coming down the line?
So the announcement that Governor Hogan did on Friday, this is actually a portion of that announcement. There's a MERE grant, a Maryland Emergency Education Relief Fund, that the Board of Education, we worked with their submission. So there's another $340,000 that they should be similar to what we did as a bus grant a couple years ago. So they'll be coming back to us, and so there's some homes there. Happy to report that'll get us in excess of 99% of the public school students will have connectivity, access to wired broadband in our county.
Until we get more public school students living further out.
Again, that's a moving target, and we get those updated addresses monthly from the Board of Education. But as we the more we connect, and the faster we connect those. Well, I don't know if it's good or bad. Hopefully we're keeping ahead of the new building curve, and we're getting much closer to our goal. We're in a good place.
Very good. Very
You're
good.
doing a good job.
Yes.
You really are.
Great job on that. Really. I'm still not connected, but it's a good job, Dylan. Good job.
You're not getting connected.
You need a school student.
And I appreciate that reminder.
My kid's, I think his kid's 36 years old, so he's not in school anymore. Okay. Anything else?
It's coming.
I think
Motion and a second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your effort.
Next
on
up
this.
is from the Department of Aging and Human Services, notification of grant award for COVID-19 vax. Ms. Lori Jennings Harris presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Weiskopf. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So I want to introduce Gori Apti. She is our fiscal manager and just joined us last week, so we're happy to have her on board.
Take a microphone.
Good morning.
No, just grab this microphone and slide it over.
Mr. Weiskopf just said we have a one-time grant award from the Maryland Department of Aging called the VAC 5, and it is funding for the expansion of access to COVID-19 vaccines in the amount of $12,152.
Keep getting calls, these automated calls from, it's time for me to get my additional booster. Do you know how we're doing with that? Are people getting a lot of boosters on top of what?
I really don't know.
I guess you guys are Aging and Human Services.
I think that may be a question for Dr. Brewster.
Yeah, maybe next time we see her.
Why is this grant going through you and not the Health Department?
It came from the Maryland Department of Aging, and the original source, it just left my head. But MDOA has opportunities for different grants, and the area agencies on aging have access to older adults, and older adults, as you know, is one of the most vulnerable populations. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why it came through MDOA.
This grant is it for just put on billboards?
There are a number of ways that AAAs across the state have utilized this funding, and for our proposal, that's how we propose to use this funding.
For billboards?
For a billboard, and for advertising online.
Is that the most effective way to reach the elderly population?
Well, it's one of the ways that we think, it's not just for elderly, it's for any all populations, especially when you have caregivers and family and friends who have access to older adults. We have to spend this money by the end of September if you approve it, so that's one of the ways that we've chosen to do it.
Okay.
Is there any other allocation to this? I mean, or any other use? I mean, the health department's pretty much done this, and they've beaten the proverbial dead horse on advertising and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. So is there any other better use or application of this funding besides advertising again?
There are a number of ways that we could explore using it. Yes, this is not the only way. We would, I mean, if the commissioners approve it, we would have to have it approved by the Maryland Department of Aging, which we could do, so we can explore other options.
Well, it's a grant.
But you have other publications you can put this in, like your bi-monthly, the 2-month publication that you put out now? You put it in there too? And
We could. We'd have to change the proposal and have
I'm
it.
just wondering how just to spend it. I know it's advertisement only that you can spend it in, right?
Well, it says $10,260 on a billboard and $1,892 through APG Southern Maryland News.
Yeah.
We've had the Southern Maryland News discussion here before.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to move to approve the COVID-19 vaccine VAC 5 grant award from Maryland Department of Aging on behalf of the Department of Aging and Human Services in the amount of $12,152 and authorize the Commissioner President to execute the related documents.
Got a second?
That's a grant. Jiminy.
Any seconds? Well, I'll second it.
I mean, it usually means we're going to lose, Commissioner President.
Oh, that's the way it is.
But, I mean, it's a grant. What is wrong with approving a grant? This is not something,
I agree.
anything you can do to help people with COVID-19. What is our goal here?
Okay, we've got a first and second on this. I reckon we have to do a roll call vote. We'll start with Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes.
No.
Yes?
No.
No.
Failed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next up from the Department of Economic Development is the Maryland Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Funds. Director Chris Casalemas presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Weiskopf. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
Today, we're asking Commissioners to review the proposed list of projects for the Rural Economic Development Fund program. A little background, in February, Governor Larry Hogan announced that $50 million in grant funds will be made available to boost economic development activity, stimulate private sector investment, and grow jobs in the state's 5 rural regions. 5 rural region councils will each get $10 million, and they will submit proposals to the Department of Commerce. The grant program is designed to be flexible and allow each rural council to determine the best use of the funds. Eligible uses of the funds include developing infrastructure such as utilities, transportation, broadband to support attraction, retention, or expansion of businesses, as well as infrastructure related to specific industry sector development, including manufacturing, cybersecurity, and the life sciences. Planning and feasibility studies are also eligible, as well as certain capital and operational expenses. So the Tri-County Council of Southern Maryland has asked each economic development office from Charles, St. Mary's, and Calvert to develop a list of projects that could be funded from the fund. The Tri-County Council must submit a complete list to the Department of Commerce by September 2nd. The Tri-County Council is asking for a proposed list from each Southern Maryland county by the end of July. And Department of Commerce has provided some guidance. There's a FAQs in your packet. For what the list that we've come up with from our department, our list totals $2,480,000 for 9 projects, plus another 3 projects that we feel are regional projects that total $1,575,000. Calvert is proposing $2,478,000, and Charles is proposing $2,007,000, plus a couple of regional projects. So we believe that all these projects also have a regional benefit, and even all the projects from other counties will have a regional benefit. So with that, yep. No, I'm pretty much done. So we have the list attached. We can go through it. I can just answer questions about the list. Again, this is from our department. I know Commissioner Morgan's the chairman of the board of the Tri-County Council, so he has some knowledge about this also. I don't know if he wants to.
There's some impressive-looking projects on this list, and I think this FAA-approved UAS route network over the Chesapeake Bay is really interesting and
very exciting.
Very positive. Yeah,
we're excited about that one.
Tell me about the $300,000 for creating a public gathering space at the airport. What does that mean? You going to sit there, be able to watch airplanes land and take off? Or?
So, Commissioner Hewitt, remember we have the airport Aero Park Innovation District. So, the way that the master plan for the Aero Park calls out the terminal as kind of like the front door to the Aero Park Innovation District. So, we've done some enhancements to the interior. We're going to do some more with some state bond bill money. But part of this money would go towards enhancing the front of that. So if you walk up to or drive up to the airport terminal now, you see a parking lot and some trees that don't look so good and not much else. You don't see any hardscape that looks nice. You don't really see any landscaping. So the idea is to create, and we do have a rough plan from a landscape architect, to kind of make it more of a welcoming area, a place you could even have a small little center area that would be a sitting area with some trees and some bushes. So again, a place where people could hang out a little bit, because we do expect there to be events at the airport and at the terminal, and also some enhancements for the back, but that's for the back of the terminal. And this also could be an area, we could add an area for people to watch planes. So there are other things in the master plan which talk about enhancing the Aero Park and enhancing the community's enjoyment of that airport. And it could be, I think we talked about having a playground. We talked about having a observation area for planes to take off. So those types of things which are included in the master plan we've put in here. But primarily it would be terminal stuff, really to enhance the front of the terminal.
Okay.
For the back.
The barns at Newmarket, I see this capacity enhancement, and I get it. What I've recognized at the barns at Newmarket when I've been, my wife and I have been several times now, is that if there was a way for the back side of that parking lot to be able to come around and exit back out, I mean, I know it's probably going to be looked at by engineers, of course, but what happens is people pull in, you get congested right there in the front, and that's okay. I mean, it's good we got people, but then people are backing out, people are pulling in, they're backing out into the road, not backing into the road, but traffic backs out into the road as people are trying to negotiate that front area. And when you get to the back, and I park back there, and it's not a bad thing, it's more parking, of course, but then when you come back out, you got to come through the congested area in the front.
Right.
So if there was a way for you to take a look at that traffic flow, to somehow put a back relief valve or some kind of way to get people who are parked in the back don't have to go back out through,
Right.
with people going back and forth, because once the other building opens up, I think it's going to be a lot more pedestrian traffic going back and forth between the stalls and the big building.
Yeah, I saw the same problem, because people would come up there and stop to load up or whatever, and you
Right.
couldn't even get out. So, I mean, it was
It
a
is
lot
an
of
issue.
blockage, and it was, especially on Saturday. I mean, it was very busy. I saw that.
Right, and we like it to be busy, and we don't want congestion. We certainly don't want traffic to
And no
back
doubt
up
there should be some
road.
kind of a back, yes, a road away from the back, another way out.
So we have talked to Public Works a couple times, and they're talked about maybe restriping and reconfiguring that front area there between the two buildings. This money would also include money for additional parking in the back area. And we do have some signage, I think, that's going in or maybe is already in, which directs people to the back, but still there's that issue of people loading. So maybe restriping that front, maybe be loading areas. But Public Works is kind of coming up with some different ideas. I don't know that we've talked about having a way to come back around. I think it's Redstone Lane. That's a possibility. We'll talk to Public Works about that. But I understand the idea of coming through that area in and out.
To Redstone Lane, I'd caution very heavily against that, based on the input from the residents that were up there and the work that had to go into it just for the farmers market.
Right.
Even the mere mention of trying to loop that road to Redstone Lane is going to be a big issue up there.
Right.
Oh, probably so.
We got very far with, the infrastructure, how it was built, and you guys did an amazing job on that. I'd hate to see it all torn down for trying to connect to the road that they didn't even want traffic on.
No, and I recall those conversations,
It's still
Commissioner
fouled up
O'Connor.
trying to get in and out.
Yeah. That's why we were trying to look at mostly just kind of reconfigure that front area so it's more of a flow through, not a place that people park and back up and pedestrians. So that's our first option, maybe our only good option.
Good.
So to explain the process to the commissioners, this $10 million came in from the governor, and it was $10 million to 5 tri-county councils or dual councils throughout the state. The direction that staff was given was that the first of the $10 million, the highest priority had to be given to projects that would be affecting the region as a whole. And then the commissioners, or the board, then asked the economic development directors from the 3 counties to come up with a sort of a wish list. And then the board will obviously meet again after the election to decide what and how much each county will receive, with priority first given to regional projects that benefit the 3 counties, or if you can find something that benefits 2 counties. But we want to use the tri-county as a region to be enhanced by this, and not just perceive this to be some monies that each county is going to get to do what they want. So that will be the process that the tri-county council will follow. So
I think we
Mr.
approved that in the last tri-county council meeting.
Yeah, so I thank Mr. Castellanos for the inputs for St. Mary's. I haven't seen Calvert and Charles yet, so we'll see about that towards the end of the month. So just so everyone understands what's going on.
Right.
I will thank you for the improvements down there at the airport, though, because that building has been anything but a terminal. But economic development has done an amazing job trying to utilize that space, and the farmers markets, and now this. Hopefully it'll become more of a passive area for people to enjoy the airport like you're looking at.
Right.
And we'll get some strong use out of it. So I
Right.
appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
And his idea of putting seating, whatever things outside there, we had that UAS, actually national type of, and Europe, international type of thing. You really had nowhere, unless you were a guest, to get inside, like we were, but to see what was going on. and it'd be nice to have some kind of area where they, and expand it. I think I told the people who were to look at somehow, to want to close the airport, to use the runway somehow, or some kind of a big screen thing where they could see. There was no way you could see what was going on unless you had a pair of binoculars, right, to see some of the outstanding things that are happening.
Oh, it's common. They'll shut the taxiway down like some of the
they did.
Oshkosh and other air shows.
They shut all that down, but that was great.
And let you out there.
Great thing that you had going there, but you couldn't really see it very well unless you had a pair of binoculars to already watch it. So anything we do to improve that, that was a good showing.
Yeah, we're looking for enhancements for the spectator experience for next year.
Spectator experience,
Yep,
exactly.
Maybe some
Something to do that.
screens and some viewing areas.
Great.
And even, we talked about even having kind of a area where you could walk through, maybe have them come out to the front of the airport and have them display their aircraft and have people walk through.
Exactly.
And
Just walking through that 10 area and everything, seeing all the aircraft and
Students.
what their challenges were was very much interesting. Yeah. Good. Okay. Do we have a first and second?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the proposed list of projects for the Southern Maryland Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Funds, and have the list forward to the Tri-County Council of Southern Maryland and authorize the Commissioner President to sign all the related documents.
Second.
Have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any disapprovals? Ayes have it.
Thank you. And next up, also from the Department of Economic Development, is the proposal for Defense Communities Infrastructure Program.
Thank you, Mr. Weiskopf. So this will be the second year that we will submit a Defense Communities Infrastructure Program project, DCIP project. Last year, we submitted a grant, and we were awarded. In fact, we were the only grant in the state of Maryland awarded, and one of only 13 grants in the United States. We had a relatively small project. I think it was $400,000. Wasn't super sexy, but it was a project that caught the eye of the reviewers and the grantors. So we're happy about that. This year, they've upped the amount to $90 million. I think it was $60 million last year. The priority is the same as last year. The first priority is enhancement of military value. The grants do require a 30% match by the grantee. We work very closely with Public Works and Transportation. Jim Gotch could not be here today. I think he's working on the CalVex exercise. But the idea is to have kind of a three-pronged approach here. The project would include extension of Tulagi Place, so it would connect into where Willows and Shangri-La meet. There would be a roundabout there. Also doing some bike lanes along Willows Road from Route 5 all the way up, and then filling in the sidewalks from the Aberley Crest area up to the Tulagi area. So the project needs to be done. You need to complete it. I believe it's need to turn dirt within 12 months. So they feel they can start at least the sidewalk portion and the bike lane portion within that time frame. We do have a letter, I couldn't include it in your packet because we just got it yesterday, from the base commander approving the project. And
Can you help me understand how you're going to get from Tulagi to Willows? Is it going to go through the passive park? Is it going to do we own the land that it would be going over? And what will it be impacting in the park?
So, Commissioner Colvin, it will be through county land, so the Tulagi will begin where it ends now.
Right.
And then it will go just to the side of the post office. Mm-hmm. That's land that we own. And then it kind of curves around and goes right to where Willows and Shangri-La meet, where Willows kind of connects into Shangri-La.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it's going to go.
Okay. So I'm looking at the map now just so that I can understand it. So it's not going to impact the community garden that's planned there or any of the other plans for the passive park?
Not that I know of, no. And this, again, this was a plan that was already on the books for Public Works and Transportation. This was not something that was just dreamed up for this. It was already been on the books, and it was in the transportation plan. So the idea actually came from Jim Gotch and his staff.
Did the bike lanes come from him as well?
The bike lanes, I asked about the bike lanes and about the sidewalk. I thought the bike lanes along, I think we need more bike lanes throughout the county everywhere, and Willows is a great place to ride a bike. I mean, it's a good connection, gets you to the base, so that was something that they investigated, and it's not very expensive to do the bike portion of that.
Are they going to do the protected bike lanes with the white barriers, or is it just going to be the paint? Because Willows has its fair share of issues safety-wise, so
the idea is the signage,
introducing
yeah.
pedestrians and now bikes, I
Right.
mean, it's...
Well, Commissioner O'Connor, it's going to be striping and signage.
Okay.
So making sure there's enough room for folks. You know, whether there's striping and signs or not, people do ride their bikes. So this makes it a little more safer for the, it kind of gives notification to bikers that, hey, this is an area that we've designated as a bike route, and to drivers too, hey, this is a bike route sign, keep an eye out for cyclists.
Fair enough.
And also, you know, all these connections will connect to our project from last year, which is the pedestrian and bike crossing over Three Notch Road. So
Okay, good.
kind of all feeds into that same project from last year.
We had an issue a little while ago with another road project down in this area running into Metcom infrastructure. Do we have any idea of hidden infrastructure issues that could be uncovered? I guess we probably don't, but.
I don't know of any Metcom issues. We did include George Erickson in our discussions about when we came up with projects. He had some projects that didn't work out, but he was in those conversations with us. He didn't bring anything up.
Okay, good.
I'll sit there and confirm, this project has been on the books for years to do, and it makes a lot of sense. The traffic circle connecting over the road over is great. I've argued for years to have a sidewalk going down from basically Great Mills Road all the way down to Bradley Boulevard, which just will encompass and incorporate the houses. Far and away, this money is, in my opinion, money well spent versus the bicycle lane that was proposed and approved last year, which I think was, we could have had a better use of our monies at the end of the day. But this, if we can get this DSIP project done, it'll be a great enhancement for that area of Lexington Park to make it more community, more traffic, and more pedestrian accessible and friendly.
I move to approve the application for the FY22 Defense Communities Infrastructure Program and direct county staff to submit the online grant application, authorize the commission president to sign all related documents.
Second.
Have a first and second, all in favor? Aye. Any noes? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Can DCIP funding be used, or can we put in applications for broadband using it?
No.
No? Okay. Just curious.
It's okay.
Next up is also from the Department of Economic Development, the proposal for Community Legacy Program Facade Grant Application.
Thank you again, Mr. Weiskopf. So again, we're asking for permission to apply for a grant. This is a community legacy grant through the State Department of Housing and Community Development. It's for a facade improvement program. This is something that you can apply for under a Sustainable Communities designation. We have one down in Lexington Park. We also have one in Charlotte Hall, and the town of Leonardtown has one for their town. This program will target Lexington Park and Great Mills Corridor as designated in the adopted Lexington Park Development District Master Plan. The maximum award from the state is $50,000. Again, the town of Leonardtown uses this very successfully. You offer to businesses an opportunity to improve the front of their building. They have to put some skin in the game. You provide a matching amount for them. It just improves the look of the area, improves business attraction, retention. It's got a lot of positive benefits. This happens to be, this grant's due tomorrow, so we kind of were a little bit late in getting to it, but we do have a Sustainable Communities designation, like I said, in Lexington Park. We've got a lot of efforts, a lot of county funding goes into Lexington Park in terms of parks funding and everything that happens with public works and transportation. We have a new business association down there that meets regularly, so we're trying to continue to make improvements down there, and this is one small way we can show that we're involved in there and trying to make physical improvements to the whole area and just make it look better.
I think this is a great program. I know it's been really successful in Leonardtown.
Right.
A lot of businesses have taken advantage of it, and it's good for the town, so I think it'd be great for Lexington Park.
$50,000 doesn't seem like a lot. Who would we target with this money? mom and pops?
Pretty much, yeah. I think, we don't have the details of it yet, but I think the idea is that those businesses that can probably least afford to do something on their own, where they, a little bit of a share with the county, would help them to actually make an improvement to the front of their building. That's what we would target.
I guess where I'm going with this is, a good example for me is St. Mary's Square, where you see a lot of different facades for the buildings, and most, I shouldn't say upscale, but in small strip centers and stuff like that, you usually see a consistency. You don't see a consistency there.
No.
You'll see a painted one and then a lit one, and it's just kind of lends an atmosphere of unprofessional. So I support the idea.
I move to approve the application to the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development for a facade improvement grant program for Lexington Park, and direct county staff to submit the online grant application and authorize the Commissioner President to sign all related documents.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any disapproval? Ayes have it.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner.
Castellano.
Mr. Castellanos, one question before you go. When we got on the DCIP one on I, the Tulagi Place construction, are you going to be coordinating to ensure, because there is the Royal Farms that was approved there, so we do have that money allocated, is your team going to be working with whatever developer is doing all of that to make sure that this funding coincides with whatever they're doing at the same time, so we're not doing work, having it ripped up and...
Right. Good question, Commissioner O'Connor. Jim Gotch talked about this, and this is not contingent upon the Royal Farms going in or not going in.
I know,
but he did talk about if the Royal Farms goes in, he's actually going to ask for a contribution from them for this road, but he is coordinating. He's obviously aware of the Royal Farms potentially going in there, so that's on his mind, and he will make sure that that's coordinated. He did mention that.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And that ends County Administrator time.
It does. Okay, Commissioner's time. We'll start with Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back, everybody. We didn't see everybody last week because of the 4th of July. It was very festive. There were a lot of parades. Many of us were available at the parades, whether it went from Golden Beach all the way down to Piney Point, St. George Island, et cetera. It was a lot of fun. We had the Jazz Festival this past weekend. 2 out of 3 days turned out pretty good. The one in the middle, which was the big Jazz Festival, unfortunately, we had a little bit of a rain. I want to thank the Friends working with the museum division to try to come up with a way to, make whole those people who bought tickets, because we did say rain or shine, and unfortunately the drenching that took place, the roads flooding, et cetera, sort of made it more of a peril to get people in and out of there versus just having a rain or shine event. I want to say it was nice to see Mr. Shepard here this morning in his new capacity as our part-time Recs and Parks Director, and congratulate the staff for National Recreation and Parks Week. So I think that was really good. On a more serious note, early voting's going on. And for those people who are campaigning, we are out there, and the number of people voting, we'll say, has been pretty low, really, really low. So I would encourage you, since we're spending all this money, I think it's over $250,000, so that we can have 3 early voting sites, would you please come out and use them? Because this is your taxpayer dollars being spent, because we had to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to be in accordance with the law. On a sadder note, if you know John Duckett over at Showtime Deli, this past weekend his son was killed by a drunk driver up on Willows Road. Anybody who went to the deli knew Jamari, great kid, smile on his face, just graduated from Great Mills High School. He'd been taking classes in high school, going to CSM to get a degree in to start his degree in mechanical engineering. He was going to go to Morgan State after that, had a scholarship. So on behalf of the commissioners, we do reach out to the Duckett family on Jamari's tragic death. And, drinking and driving just doesn't work, folks. And now we got a young 18-year-old promising kid who ain't going to be around with us anymore. On a last note, on a brighter note, to our former County Minister, Dr. Bridget, happy birthday to you. You thought we were going to forget. So with that, thank you very much.
John.
Say happy birthday, Dr. Bridget. I think that's great. I'm glad that she's here with us, and she is doing amazing. I like to keep up with all the photos of the winery and everything that's going on there. And now 4th of July was, the parades were amazing. Commissioner Morgan touched on it. I mean, there were so many parades, and we were all available throughout the county. Great turnout to the parades, but not so much to the voting locations. It's definitely been said multiple times and coined the, I would say, it looks like this is a big waste of money for the 3 locations or even 2 locations in the county based on the turnout. Now, turnout's normally lower in the gubernatorial versus the presidential, so I guess the long term is something that we need to take a look at and basically weigh everything that's going to be there, or this next board will weigh whether they want to keep the 3rd location. However, when I think Commissioner Morgan was modest in the term, I would more use the word dismal, whereas in 30 people came out, or actually 33 came out one day to the Lexington Park location. So that's beyond low. However, Hollywood, because I think it's what everybody knows, is where everybody is at. So everybody's just naturally going to Hollywood. Although I will say that there is probably accessibility with the 3 locations where it's convenient for people at this point. Do see a lot of people at the drop boxes, so I think that's also that has something to do with it on how watered down the actual election day has become here in Maryland, between mail-in voting and early voting, and then early voting with the ballots that you can mail in. So either way, what that means is go out to one of the new locations if you can. If you're driving down to the base, stop by Bay District Volunteer Fire Department over there. And if you're up in the north end of the county, Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department. If you don't know where that's at, when you're coming southbound, look for the Shell station, and it's right there on your right-hand side. And I think you can probably see one of Commissioner Colvin's signs with balloons out there.
It's there.
And so, all right, thank you.
Eric.
All right, well, I'll continue the trend and encourage everyone to come out to early voting. It's been fun the time that I've been out there meeting people who are voting. So come out, there's no line. If you don't make it to early voting next week, no excuse. You're not going to be sitting home watching our meeting. We're not having a meeting next week. Primary election day, July 19th. Go vote. It's really important. Low turnout, your vote counts more. It is important. There's a lot going on. River concert's happening this Friday evening. It had to be canceled last Friday to do just for safety purposes, but this Friday, going out to the River concert. The Hollywood Volunteer Fire Department Carnival starting up this week. I believe it starts on Thursday, runs through Sunday, and then it'll be next weekend also. Go out to that. It's a great event. It's just a fun time out there. Starting next weekend is Summer Stock production. Great Mills High School, Children of Eden. You can get tickets online now. You can buy tickets at the door. Go check out the Summer Stock show and see what the kids in the county are up to. It's a great performance. Tonight, we have a public forum tonight at 6:30. You are welcome to come and talk to us about anything that interests you. We are here to listen. So it's going to be a great time. I want to end this morning with a random history fact. Today, in 1957, Eisenhower became the first president to fly in a helicopter. So now you know. Thank you all.
Mike, you got it.
Thank you, Commissioner President. Okay, early voting, it's been slow. There was some discussion about, do we need 3? I remember the Board of Elections director saying, well, they had a lease with Hollywood till 2028. But, you know, versus the money that it's costing us, it's really the time that people put in. They have to be there very early. 7 a.m. they open, so they have to be there before that. And they go to 8 o'clock at night. It's a long day for these election judges and these people who do that job, and Lord knows they're earning every penny they're making. And but sometimes we need to understand if we get bang for the buck. I'm all about people voting early, but there are ballot boxes, there's absentees, there's all different kinds of ways of voting. But this needs to be reviewed, and not this year, but maybe in 2 years. Again, July 19th, that's primary election day. It's Kind of unusual to have it in the middle of summer, but that's the way it's cookie crumbles, as they say, given what happened in Annapolis with the census and those things up there, but please vote. This past week, I had the opportunity to meet with people who have purchased 17.8 acres in Lexington Park. For anybody who's been around a while, they purchased Millicent Plaza, the big lots, the Showtime Deli's there, the gymnastics center that the county has. I used to call it Bambino's, Treasury Drug, Southern Tire, all the way over to the movie theater. And very interesting group, Atlantic Realty. And what was interesting about them is they specialize in purchasing these types of locations. They showed us befores and afters of several that they've done. Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Towson. They did some up in Delaware, and there was about 5 or 6 examples that they had. But they have big plans, and one of the most exciting things I was glad to see is they have connections, or relationships, that's a better term, with a national grocer that they're going to try and bring into Lexington Park. It's a great idea. I want to bring in a Starbucks down there and have its drive-through windows and things like that. Great idea. I mean, these people really have a lot on the ball. And, of course, the county needs to determine what we're going to do with our gymnastics center. So we have some decisions to make there, too. But it's good news for Lexington Park. I asked them what they thought about the ACUs, and was that a hindrance to them. They said they didn't think so. They think they could renovate their buildings, put money into them, new facades. They're going to do better circulation of traffic through them, so it's safer. We even have ideas for doing townhouses and upper scale condos in the area. So very aggressive plan, very interesting to see them taking that approach with Lexington Park, and I'm glad to see it. Tonight's a public forum, 6:30, and I hope people will come. It's important that we hear from you. We don't really react well if we don't hear from you. We're on our own, as they say, but we're looking forward to it. Please turn out. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Once again, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Bridget on her birthday. It was pleasant working with her for almost 7 years as our county administrator. I know she's fighting cancer still, and she just finished her chemo treatment again, of course. She's been through it several times now. Anyway, I'm sorry to hear about I was looking forward to the Jazz Festival. We had almost 2 inches of rain, and I can see why down in the Clements area. I know I had flooding at my house. It was unbelievable, the amount of rain we had, so I can understand that down there by the museum. There's no way you can park down there and possibly have a kind of event there. Early voting has started and almost will be ending in 2 more days. The 14th is the last of early voting. And like everybody else is, I'm sort of disappointed in the turnout so far. But July 19th, of course, is the end of early voting. I should say the primary, excuse me. So July 19th, if you haven't voted now, you got July 19th. And also for those, there's a lot of mail-outs that went out for absentee voting. Anyone can get the absentee ballot. I think yesterday was the last day to request one. So, but those are mailed out. Please return them. It seems to be low numbers returned so far, so we need to have this done. There's a lot of big decisions to be made that, for example, the state's attorney and sheriff's decision will be made during this process. So it's 2 very important offices that need to be looked at. And so it's very important that for those of you who are considering early voting, please get out and do it, but also make sure that July 19th you've done your primary duty and voted. Other than that, I need to have a go into a closed session for discussing personnel.
Move to enter into closed session for discussion of personnel.
Second.
First, second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Remember, 6:30 tonight, public forum. Come out and tell us what you want to know or what you'd like to hear done, and we'll have our representatives answer to you back. Thank you.